Hey, y'all, and welcome to day 36 of my third annual WSOP Daily Spaces coverage, the longest run in poker space. I'm Sherry Pluskota, aka Peaches, and I'll be your host for today. And I'm sure my co hosts, some of them are probably still sleeping in. We got in very late last night. And of course, I have no one to pass the baton to. So, um, come ride or die. How do you say it? Come rain or shine. Sherry will be here like the postman of the days of yesteryear. Welcome, Dana. Hey, ASG. Hey, Sandy, Exec Deck, Bathwater for Buy-ins. Glad you're all joining me this morning. Trying to shake the cobwebs out of the brain this morning. Many thanks to my sponsor, Elevator Results. If you need a tailor-made workout plan to help you lose weight or gain weight, Elevator Results can design that plan. Follow them on Twitter and check out their site at elevatorresultspt.com. You can find the recordings of my past spaces as well as the recordings of the new Peaches Poker Corner that I've been doing over at poker.org. Their Legends Lounge has a little studio set up in it that we can use, and I'm thankful for that. So you can find the recordings of those on that um, YouTube channel at Sherry Pluskota 9212. I haven't put up the interview yet that the Green Visor Gang and I did yesterday. We'll get into that in a little bit. So, pardon me. How are you, ASG?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome. Hey, Dana. Oh, she may not be able to come up yet. Hey, Brad.
Hey there, good morning.
Good morning. Um, please be reminded, sorry, you guys, the frogs are in the throat. Please be reminded that we will always try to give the most updated and accurate information possible, but we do make mistakes because the information is forever changing. So please double check any information we provide to ensure yourself the best experience possible. And also, if you find that we made a mistake, please let us know so we can correct it. We want to get that corrected information out there for sure. Be reminded that the WPT Gold Rush Lounge is at the Old Red Building in front of the Horseshoe in that little promenade that has the little shops and restaurants in it. They're open Thursdays through Sunday, 5 p.m. through 9 p.m. Again, the Poker Legends Lounge is open starting at 10 a.m. every day of the week. And tonight is Comedy Hour at 7 p.m. If anybody is interested in seeing some comics this evening, they will be there. A little bit of update on Team Spacers. We moved up a few positions. We're now in the 67th position out of 873, which we got a little boost up. I think Robert Mizraki got a few points. Ben Lamb got some points. And Brian Rast, I think, got 1 point for us in the last 36 hours. So we did move up a little bit in our rankings as far as the fantasy league is concerned. And of course, we need our horses down at the bottom to get some points, uh, as well as the ones at the top. But you guys know what I mean. So good luck to us, Team Spacers. I've kind of purposely been just um, rambling on so we can get some folks in here before we start to talk about the Millionaire Makers. So I'm just going to keep it moving. Hey, Isaac.
Good morning.
Zach, I see you joined us. Hey, Zach, did you win Alex Fitzgerald's book? Give me a thumbs up, Zach. Was that you? Um, Alex Fitzgerald had made a tweet that whoever found him first would get an autographed copy of his book. And I'm pretty sure, oh, it wasn't you, Zach. Okay. Somebody sent me a DM and they thought it was you. Okay, thank you. If I get a chance, I'm going to try to figure that out later today. Um, let's talk about doing
Talk about the Lexi video.
the what? Oh, we'll
The,
do that. Yeah, we'll do that in a minute too. I'm actually waiting for a couple of specific people to show up so they could join in some of these hotter topic conversations. So give it one more minute or two, ASG, and we're going to get into both of those topics for sure. Um, until then, let's talk about the interview we did yesterday. Isaac and the Reaper and Mac came over to the poker.org lounge podcast studio setup, and we did an interview yesterday. I'm waiting for them to send it to me so I can get it uploaded and posted for everybody. What did you think of that experience, Isaac?
Super dope. Super, super dope. Um, love the lounge. We were treated excellently. And yeah, like filming the episode was awesome.
It was a lot of fun. And it basically is just like we do here every day and just on cameras, right? And you know, we could have gone on for days, I think, because once we get into a space, like this space is more formal because we are trying to do a lot of business and poker world kind of shit. But, when we all just get into a space and just chit chat, we can go on for hours and sometimes days, right? And that's kind of how it was yesterday. We just, it just kept going. And finally, I kind of tapped Isaac and, I was like, I think we need to like wrap it up because we were just enjoying it. And is Mac on the Green Visor account?
Yes, he is.
All right, I'm going to let him come up too and give us his opinion of what he thought. And Reaper, we appreciate you for being our sideline photographer. He's got some great shots for us and, supporting us all the way. What's up, Mac?
Good morning. Ready to grind.
I know that's right. What did you think of the experience at the poker.org lounge yesterday?
Oh man, it was like it felt like a life accomplishment. it was
Oh, that's awesome.
it was awesome, to be able to share, the mic with you, Asimov, and just have a conversation about something we're really passionate about was just the highlight of my day yesterday.
Well, that's awesome. And you know what? It was so much fun. It was just a delight. You guys were such a delight and the conversation is always easy and flows and you guys have a passion that's contagious and I love that. So I appreciate you guys doing that interview with me for sure. And for those that were waiting for the drawings that we had to do, we did the drawings on air in that live podcast, so to speak. So we're not going to let the cat out of the bag who were the winners yesterday because you guys have to go watch that when I get it posted to find out if you won. And I'm going to let one cat out of the bag. The guys with the Green Visor Gang gave away a third phase four pass yesterday. So we drew for two passes and we drew for those amazing $1 million game t-shirts from HCL. So all of that is on that going to be on that podcast. So it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you as well. It was, like I said, it was a great experience, super fun. The lounge was so beautiful. The setup was great. And yeah, Reaper got some extra pictures from the background and videos. And I can't wait to start working on my video as well. But I'm going to wait for you to release yours first, and then I'll
Okay,
release ours.
perfect. That sounds great. Thank you so much for that consideration. And I also want to say that after we got done with the interview, we went to lunch and had pizza, and Blue came over, and then we all piled on over to the Golden Nugget for a tournament because we missed the Lazy Pineapple tournament. We were too late to get there. So we went over to the Golden Nugget. Yes, grasp your pearls and hold your breath because, things have been going over, not, have been going on over at the Nugget this year that we're all not too fond of. So we didn't really know what we were going to get, right? And so I will tell you, upon check in, the staff seemed very happy to see us. Uh, I mean, I've been to those Nugget tournaments before, and the staff have been nice, but it seemed a little overly nice yesterday, at least to me. Not sure if anybody else got that vibe. Um, I will say that it did have the guarantee on the TV screen where it shows, the clock on that screen. It did say a $7,500 guarantee. So if you're going to the Nugget and you're going to play, I would suggest you do what I do and take a picture of that screen when that tournament starts. And then you know if it's a guarantee or not. And just take notice for sure. Um, Also, the dealers were fantastic. I know Isaac made comment about that.
I did. I thought that every dealer we had was like the kind you always want, sharp, engaging, really knows like how the game is moving, is paying super attention, isn't letting shit go. That everything was just really good on the
Yep,
dealing end. We didn't have anybody that felt amateur, basically.
right. They did a great job. But I will tell you, just buyer beware, so to speak, that one of the dealers was talking about the tournament the night before, that they at some point went from nine-handed to 10-handed during the tournament. So, and I'm sure it might not, and I don't know. I have questions like, was it every table ended up 10-handed or only some tables ended up 10-handed? And if you bill it as a nine-handed tournament and then you turn it into a 10-handed tournament, I don't know. But just be aware that that did take place on Sunday, for whatever tournament was happening on Sunday. Um, just buyer beware. Every day, I think for the first 2 or 3 weeks of this daily coverage here in Spaces, I made an announcement about what pictures you should take at the WSOP when you're at summer camp. Isaac, do you know what those 3 pictures are?
Your chip stack, where you're parked, and Sherry's face whenever you forget one of those three.
Let's just say we were walking around the parking deck trying to find the car yesterday, and of course I said, Isaac, did you not hear me every day for 3 weeks say take a picture of your parking spot? It was quite a fun moment. But I will say Isaac has started taking a picture of his chip stack before leaving the table. So kudos to you, Isaac. I just had to poke a little fun at that this morning because we did have fun in the parking deck on that topic. And Isaac, thank you so much for chauffeuring us around yesterday. And Mac, thanks for lunch. It was delish. So you guys have any other comments about those topics before we move on?
Nah, nah, nah. I don't. But when you first started the space and you were talking about a comedy show, right?
Yes.
I was gonna segue into the whole, the comedy act that us four pulled off last night. But
Go
I'm gonna
for it.
let you tell
Yes,
the
do.
story
Oh
because
my
you're a
God,
better storyteller.
I didn't even say the results of our tournament. That's because everything else was so fun. I forgot we played poker yesterday. Okay, it was a $150 buy-in, and it had 70 runners, $7,500 guarantee. You had to be seventh to make it into the money. Isaac, you want to tell them when you went out?
I went out 12th.
And Reaper's not here, so I'm going to give his number out. Reaper went out 11th. I went out 10th. And Mac, when did you go out?
I went out ninth, one before the bubble. Wonk wonk.
He was bubble plus one. So we joked all the whole rest of the night about 9, 10, 11, 12. And this morning, I really think we should get a bullseye on a t shirt with our number in the middle of it of what we went out as.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and like I said, we're not the inglorious bastards. We're the unglorious bastards.
Oh, it was so fun. Honestly, we were salty. I mean, some of us, Reaper, were a little more salty about going out than others, but we did have a fun time. We absolutely did have a fun time. Let me welcome Kieran. How are you, hon? She's probably given up on being welcomed. Took so long. She's running for the phone. We're going to give her a minute to get back with us. No problem. All right, ASG, go ahead with your topic. Tell us what you want to talk about with Lexi.
Yeah, so there's this video going around, which she posted in her vlog, I guess yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, where, yeah, it's a whole mess with the dealers, and then she had pocket sevens, and another guy had pocket tens, and then the dealer moved the flop into the muck, got a seven from the muck, and then she basically convinced him that the seven was a part of the original flop. And then, yeah, nobody seemed to know or say anything. There's a floor guy right behind him saying nothing. It was a whole mess.
It was ugly, absolutely ugly, and honestly, they everybody at that table should be embarrassed over that hand, but the dealer really screwed up. Really screwed up.
Yeah, Lexi even replied to a post that she thinks that after watching the video that she thinks that the seven could have possibly come from the muck at least. It does look like it more than likely did come from the muck. I will say that. Definitely a weird situation. He burns three face down, and stops to talk to the floor guy, and then somehow brings, as ASG said, brings the flop into the muck, and then pulls four cards out. It was the weirdest situation I've ever seen.
Okay, and for the record, the flop had not been turned over yet. The
Right,
cards were
right.
still face down, and for
Yeah.
some reason, the dealer had a brain fart and thought the hand was over, so he, swiped the cards into the muck, and of course, everybody's like, "No, no, 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 no!" And so then he pulls out, instead of three cards out of the muck, he pulls out four cards out of the muck, and it looks as though a card from the muck. Um, Remained as part of the flop instead of the three original cards of the flop is what it looks like appears. So and she was recording it at the time. So who won the hand?
Pocket sevens.
Yeah, who had them?
Lexi.
Yeah, there you go. It's hard, it's hard to be objective, right? So yeah, go look at that and form your own opinions, people.
Yeah, and even whether the seven is supposed to be on the flop or not, it's hard to tell how the cards get mixed. But it does feel like the jack should have been in part of the flop. If you look at the way the cards were grabbed, that's
Right.
the top card, and when he flips them over, it's now the bottom card, and that's the card that rolls out at the bottom, or which is becomes the first card on the flop. So the jack definitely, I feel like, should have been on the flop. The seven, we could debate it. I think the seven is probably in the muck, to be honest, but I think the jack definitely should have been on the flop.
Yeah. What do you think, ASG?
I mean, this is, I mean, as I kind of said in the group chat, this is, or not group chat, in one of the replies to this is what happens when everybody goes, oh yeah, just the players should help the dealers and this and that. Is that now you get the situation where the middle guy is trying to help the dealer by telling him to turn over the flop, and then the dealer, who knows how much English he speaks, is saying, "Oh, you want me to take it into the muck or something?" And then the floor's just. I don't know if he's there just for color ups or whatever, but he's not helping the situation at all.
Yeah, it definitely was a calamity of errors for sure. And, first and foremost, it appears that it was a relatively new dealer, right? And so Mistakes are being made, and one of those mistakes is trying to hurry up and solve the problem instead of taking your time to make sure that the resolution is correct. It's more important to make it right than it is to be quick about it. So it's very unfortunate.
Yeah,
Just a
and
terrible.
the other thing too that's really strange to ASG's point, like at no point in that whole situation did the floor even try to intervene
Right,
to rectify the situation, which is
right.
another bizarre part of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like, dude, aren't you the floor like aren't you the floor man? Not a wallflower, but the floor person. Aren't you the floor person? Yeah, it was very strange. The whole thing was like, wow. So many things went wrong in such a little time frame. Karen, are you back with us, hon? She may actually be sitting at a table or running to sit at a table because I know she said she was going to try to play that 580 satellite this morning. So if that's the case, good luck, Karen.
Hey guys, sorry
Hey.
I'm getting a late start. I'm at breakfast, so it's real noisy. I'm going to mostly just listen,
Okay,
but
no worries.
yeah, okay, but yeah, I'm listening. I saw the Lexi video and I agreed with what ASG was saying, and I mean, it does look like everybody, like you said, can form their own opinion. Sorry about this noise here, but I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt that she wasn't angling. It seemed like she was just very excited and
Yes,
and
yes.
I think in the moment she just wanted it to be a certain way. I didn't really see it as an anger, but I know some people do. She said, and why would she release the video? She's the one that took the video. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I don't think she was angling either. Yeah, I don't think it was like anything calculated or anything, but it definitely is an unfortunate situation for sure because now that hand's tainted and, it sucks. But anyway, good luck to you today, Kieran. All right, let's move on to our hot topic of the day, that millionaire maker. For those that have been living under a rock and don't know what I'm talking about, there was a controversy at the Millionaire Maker final table. One of the guys had a WPT gold ticket, the other did not. The one that did not was the chip leader and was a chip leader by, let's see, 9-1 chip lead when they went into heads up. And in order for that golden ticket to be awarded, the guy that was, the short stack had to win the tournament to get that extra million. And of course, nothing was done. The WSOP did an investigation, and yesterday they released the following statement, which I'm trying to pull up real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay, the message reads: the investigation into the WSOP Event 53 has been completed. We have concluded that in order to uphold the integrity of the game and to uphold our official WSOP tournament rules, no winner will be recognized and no bracelet will be awarded for this year's tournament. The remaining prize pool will be split between the final two players. And of course, there is a fury of tweets and posts and, uh, you know, comments everywhere on this topic. Most, from what I have been reading, seem to think that it is a fair um, solution to the issue. There is pretty reliable sources saying that the two gentlemen, Jesse and James, have actually been banned for life from the WSOP. Of course, WSOP has not made that official. If that's their take, if that's what they did, they've not publicly acknowledged that anywhere. But pretty reliable sources like friends of the guys have come forward and saying that they actually have been banned. Again, there's nothing official. The two gentlemen themselves have not made any comments to that effect. So people are upset about, I think, the banning part more, and they're okay with the, no bracelet and they split the prize pool, is kind of where I see most opinions lie. So, anybody want to comment on that? And we're not doing what ifs, just for the record, people. So, anybody got any comments about that?
Your thought right there, the last sentence summarizes my opinions. I think that how they chopped the pot basically and didn't award the bracelet. I think that was probably the fairest thing they could do. My biggest qualm is just the banning. That's my personal issue with the whole situation, and I think that kind of your last comment there kind of sums up my sentiment on how I feel on the whole thing.
Okay. How about you, ASG?
I mean, I think it's both fair and, in my opinion, illogical to say, "Oh, we're gonna split the money but not award a bracelet." That just sounds like kind of like splitting the baby, or however you want to call it. But yeah, as I said, despite being logical in my head, it is fair in terms of nobody seems to be objecting that hard to that solution. But
And for the record, we're not splitting babies, we're splitting hairs. But go ahead.
no, like the judgment's about split. I mean, like it's a reference to King Solomon. Uh,
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead, bud.
okay. So anyway, and then yeah, as far as the band, that's I mean, sounds like that might have to do with the gaming commission. Who knows? But does seem ridiculously unfair if that was a penalty issued by WSOP or Caesars, or without it being a gaming commission issue.
Okay. And they can appeal that banning, right? And so I've kind of in the back of my mind, I'm sort of like, now I've had a little time since 2 a.m. to think about this. Um, in my mind, there definitely should be some disciplinary action, right? Should it be banned for life? Maybe not. Maybe it should be 3 years. I don't know. I definitely think it should be more than 12 months because we have to send the message that cheating will not be tolerated. So it's sort of, I don't know. You got to, I don't know. I guess maybe if when the dust settles and if they make any comments that may also, sway that, just, that opinion of mine. But I think 3 year ban would probably be, I would be okay with that versus a ban for life. But I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent.
Another thought on this, I highly doubt that WSD operator, we'll just say operator or host for any situation that's even remotely close to this, would ever come out and publicly say that a player is banned. I don't think that I think there's potential legal recourse
Yeah,
if
they
they were
can't.
to do so. Yeah. So,
Yeah, they can't give out a player's personal information,
right,
so
right.
they definitely can't. Go ahead, Mac.
Personally, if I felt like there was some kind of collusion or chip dumping as a host, I would have not paid out first and second. I potentially would have bumped up third, fourth, and fifth, and so on. But I would not have paid out to people that are already. It's known that they did something improper. I would have not compensated them at all personally.
All right, thank you for that take on that. Isaac, any comments?
No, not really, because this whole thing, I mean, the way it's turned out, it's kind of how I thought it would, right? So, yeah, it's just interesting. One thing I would say is like, is it so wrong for people to like ban WPT stuff? Like last night, Kessler had mentioned some stuff that made a lot of sense, and how next year we're probably going to see the real ramifications of all this. So that's
Well,
pretty
and
much
I'm
where I'm
just
at with
gonna
it too.
I'm just gonna say that the WSOP cannot ban what the WPT is doing. Now, I do think there's maybe some legal action, possibly some legal action that they can take for this year that what the WPT did interfered with their series and this tournament in particular. There may be some case in point for that, but they can't tell the WPT they can't offer this $1 million purse. But I will tell you that I think that as you guys know, I thought this was a great troll. This whole promotion was a great troll by the WPT. Unfortunately, it just had it made a mess of a final table. We can't have that. And I would think that the people over at the WPT would recognize that this is not an acceptable outcome and not put themselves or the players or the WSOP back in this kind of predicament by offering another $1 million purse or something like this again in the future. I would hope the WPT is better than that, and I would hope that they would learn from this experience. And quite frankly, I would hope that they would never do it again, would be my personal take on it. And I will say that I did find out this morning that part of the rules for that WPT Gold ticket, what to be awarded, that $1 million to be awarded, part of the rules is that it would not be awarded if cheating was involved. And I find it very interesting that the WPT did not wait for the WSOP to make a ruling before that $1 million was given out. I find that very interesting. Anybody got any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think they didn't because it was. I disagree in calling what happened or even what they did cheating. They didn't. They didn't. At most they violated like a terms of service kind of rule. They didn't cheat. No player was. Yeah, I wouldn't call this cheating.
Okay, that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. Hey Noah, how are you?
Good. And so I thought it was interesting, and it played out pretty much like I thought. So if you take a look at it, we had a situation at this property about 10 years ago where we had to vacate first place. I don't know if anybody remembers, but a player took chips from a different event and then brought them into play for a larger event. When we were able to discover that, we made the quick decision, and the circuit, World Series Poker, it was a circuit event. They were quick to respond as well, but we vacated first because we felt it affected the other players, and we moved everybody up on the pay scale, and we went on with our business. So now you're down to the final two. I believe that the collusion probably didn't start, if you want to call it collusion, until they got to the final two. There is an outside chance it might have extended further past that, but probably not likely. But for them to make that ruling, split the prize, not award the bracelet because it's not in the best interest, they still won the money, and people have to look at it from that. They still finished first and second, however you want to figure that part out. When we get into a lifetime ban, it's tricky because if you look at some of these situations and how far do you go past somebody? What I've always learned in this business or in gambling or in my 30 years is if somebody has that thought process or those threads in their head, whether they're going to mark cards or lie or cheat or steal or deceive or collude, it goes further than that, and usually that's a behavior that is going to be repeated at the next opportunity. So I do see that being weighed in. And don't forget, as operators, we have an obligation to protect everybody else. Okay, it's a tough
100%.
penalty, but we have an obligation to protect everybody else who's involved. I think it was an egregious mistake, and I think this is going to play out for World Poker Tour to put this thing on with $1 million basically prize on top of an event. And anytime you have money that far exceeds the prize pool, you're going to have some collusion. And you'll see that even in high hands in poker rooms where people soft play each other, or bad beats where people soft play each other. It happens, and people take advantage of that angle. And this was absolutely going to happen at some point. I do think as well that the WPT has exposed themselves, and they're going to be under a whole bunch of scrutiny for their business model. And I think it's going to be a problem moving forward.
Well, and I'm just going to add, we all, and I have said this since the start of this, you know, there's a gaming commission that is also involved with this investigation, right? And we cannot assume we know all the information that has been gathered to make these decisions by the WSOP. And part of that investigation could have been interviewing every person from that final table. And who knows what the two people that are involved with this situation said if they were interviewed. So there is a lot of things we have no clue about, have we even thought about. We got to take our emotions out of it and just think of it legally,
So, right.
because that's how, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so somebody brought up an interesting point. So say they got heads up, and you and I or somebody's playing heads up for this in first place in the prize, and I walked away saying, I do not feel good. I cannot finish this tournament. And I went home. Are we having the same conversation? Probably not. It would be hard to justify any of it. That I walked. You can't prove that I didn't feel good or I couldn't finish the event. Now you don't even have an argument, and we're not having this conversation anymore. Does anybody agree
Right.
with that?
Well, and we talked about that the other morning, that they could have done it. Like, if they're going to do something, why not just do, one of them, the chip leader do exactly that? I mean, we definitely had that discussion the other morning, for sure, and it is what it is. I'm going to let Barry get in here, just because he's just joined us. Go ahead, Barry.
All right, thanks. I think just because of the subjective nature of the game, that unless these two guys confess, it can only be speculation of you're
That's right.
trying to examine a 10-hour sample size of hands, even though clearly our eyes told us what we saw and we know what we saw, and it happens every day. You're not
Right.
going to be able to prove it. So who got cheated? You want to say the casino's reputation got cheated? It was definitely unscrupulous fucking acts, and they're trying to get ahead of it, protect themselves for next time, or who knows? Maybe this will push them to allow the WSOP to facilitate deals in the future. So,
Well, and that still would not have helped in this situation, even if they did facilitate, because that $1 million has nothing to do with the prize pool money. And I'm just going to say that, when the Gaming Commission is involved, they are a federal, not a federal, they are a government entity, right? So we don't know. Did they come in and interview the people at that final table? We know they looked at the footage, but do they come in as part of the investigation, and as, probably at the top of the investigation, did they come in and interview these folks that were at the final table, the final two, all of them? We don't know. We absolutely have no idea. And what those people, if they were, if they were interviewed by anybody, what they said, what they admitted to, what they brought to light. Um, and I would love for Jesse or James to come forward and speak, just, to tell us if they've been banned officially or not. We don't have official word. We have word of mouth by friends, which I'm tending to believe because of the sources, but we still don't have it officially from anyone involved, any parties involved. Go ahead, ASG.
Yeah, I just wanted to, as Noah, if you're gonna say, "Oh, we're gonna ban them because," you're saying they cheated and that means they might cheat in the future, and we need to protect the players, then how come there hasn't been a ban of Jake or Ali or Bryn or Jungle Man or anybody else who are known cheaters, or Men the Master? I got a whole list. And they have actually cheated players.
I don't know. Noah, are you still there, buddy? We may have
So no,
lost him.
I'm here. So yeah,
Okay.
we don't, as operators, and I know, okay, we have one player that everybody absolutely hates that plays at my facility, and you could probably guess who it is. South Florida resident. I'm not getting into it. Absolutely. And I get asked a couple times a year, why do you allow this player to play? Why do you allow this player to play?
Does he wear sandals? Never mind. Go ahead.
So it's a slippery slope for anything that doesn't happen on this property. And I know we have an obligation as operators, but when you start going down a slope of, is he guilty? Is he not guilty? Has he done this? Does he really, owe people or whatever? You could go forever, and the properties just aren't interested in getting in those long drawn out discussions. We've had it where we've banned a player for things on property that directly affected our business on property. And we've been sued for discrimination and some other things. So it's tough that the properties are only gonna to get involved in those things if something is a negative net for the property. If somebody's causing business disruption, you could justify that. But if it's just like, hey, everybody doesn't like this guy and he's done some shady stuff outside, I don't know if the property really wants to get involved.
I mean, there's just as much proof that these guys colluded has been the master, angle that having to give up his chips in an all-in.
Yeah. So yeah. Again, I know the game. Okay, so to give you background, Florida gaming, and I assume Vegas might be similar. So if we ban somebody at a property for more than 30 days, it gets reported to the gaming commission. The gaming commission does a review, and they will ban them from every facility in the state if they feel the need. Now we're talking another slippery slope. Also, I've seen people on that list who worked in concessions at a facility, who stole tip money and has now been banned from every property in the state of Florida. Do I think that goes a little too far? Yes. I think it should just stick to gaming. But I assume now interstate, you probably won't see it unless there's ever a federal thing. But I know that we won't blacklist people who are blacklisted in Vegas just because they're blacklisted there.
I find it interesting. I did not know that the gaming commission blacklists them. Wow.
They just, okay. So the Florida Gaming Commission was just created within the last 2 years. You do not want to find yourself on that list. It is a death sentence for poker rooms in Florida, minus the Indian. The Indians are on their own level. They govern themselves. But if you end up on that list, and I've seen them as far as disorderly conduct, where somebody gets drunk and they have a bad night, but they've actually been excluded from all properties in the state of Florida.
Wow. Wow. Okay, go ahead, Brad.
So I have a question to your scenario and a conversation we were having earlier. As far as, and I 100% agree that if these two had some sort of handshake deal prior to being heads up, this is banishable offense to me, and I think it's the most egregious act of collusion and cheating if other players were not a part of it. Now let's pause for a second, go to your story. The guy brought in chips. He gets a ban because other players are affected by this. In this scenario, they're heads up. They make a handshake deal. I guess what I'm saying is, who is being really cheated? There's no players. ICM chops, heads up chops, handshake deals happen on a regular basis. What is in your mind maybe the difference here, or should there have been it handled differently in this case? Because hypothetically, in the scenario that maybe it didn't happen until they were heads up.
I'm sorry, is that directed at me? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you, yeah.
I think, and it's tricky and it's tough to vacate. So you look at it from an operator. When did the violation occur? And in my opinion, it didn't occur until they got to heads up and there was an agreement made. Now, if anybody who weighed in said at any point it was discussed or mentioned with more than the two gentlemen that were at the final two, I think that opens a can of worms. If it was even discussed, if somebody said, yeah, I'm on a million or whatever, and if we get heads up, we're gonna have to, whoever gets heads up with me, all of that would have violated everything in my opinion. So I'm guessing whatever interviews they had, that it didn't come up, and they had that discussion somewhere, just the two of them. So it's hard to, where, okay, where would you go first? You have the prize money, and then you backtrack it and you distribute it all the way back. So a violation, it's almost like discovering they cheated after the prizes were already paid. You're already down that far, and you're down to the last two prizes. It's hard to penalize them for the work they already did. So I do think it's fair, as far if you want to talk about fairness, and I think fairness is everybody playing for their own interests and not going down this road.
Right.
But
As long as it only started when heads up. If there
Agreed.
was anything before that, which of course we don't know if there was or wasn't, if there was anything but before that, then it's a different, it's a different scenario totally.
I'm gonna guess this is the easiest path for the operator, and I respect that. That say, okay, let's go down this road. If you started getting into the other players were affected, you have a lawsuit on your hands there also, that the
Yes.
prize pools. That's why when we made our decision with the incident here, we vacated first, and we just trickled it down by percentages and paid it all the way down, vacated first place, and moved on. I think they had a problem in Atlantic City one time where something actually right before the event, the issue happened here. They had the person who printed chips or had fake chips or introduced chips into a tournament in Atlantic City. And that thing was drawn out for 6 months or 8 months. If everybody remembers, they're waiting on a decision, and lawsuits came down the pipe and all these things. I don't think anybody has a good argument if anybody went legally and says, hey, I feel like the tournament was compromised. That'd be a tough prove. First, you got to prove collusion. You have to prove that, which is, we all know how that goes. We've seen it where guy knows the whole cards, and you can't prove that in court. So, with that whole thing over in California. So imagine.
Yeah, but that was just a loophole in the law. That had to do with the laws, not the fact they couldn't prove it. It was loopholes in the law, so they didn't recognize it. But I get your point.
Yeah, I think if you went before a jury of peers, that if you had average people up there and you made the argument that you just got lucky, there's enough people out there who would actually believe you.
Well, and I just want to remind everyone, a few years ago at the WSOP ladies event, a young lady was caught with chips, counterfeit chips in her stack, and was allowed to continue play that tournament.
Right? Could they determine where she got them or how they got in there?
Well, they went hush hush. They went hush hush. So we don't know, and I'm still waiting to, hear what happened with her. It went really hush hush, and even the reporters didn't report
Did
it
she?
after the initial reporting.
So I think the quick blush reaction be forfeit all check the chip set for everybody, and then forfeit any counterfeits are out of play. Not that a person is supposed to be able to recognize a counterfeit poker chip, which would be bizarre. But for her to retain her full stack and the tournament to go on, that's a tough one. And yeah.
Let me, and I have brought it up several times in the last 2 years in spaces, because I was at that WSOP and I was working a booth in the hallway, and somebody at her table sent me a picture and said, this girl just got caught with counterfeit chips on her stack. And so, of course, my ears to the ground. Wait, what? And I followed it. And after the initial reporting, it went silent. So the rug was pulled on talking about it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and it's tough, and this won't be the last thing we see. Anytime you deal with money, and specifically, you'll see it increase with a tightening in the economy. You're going to see more angles shot. You just are. It just goes with the territory.
Sure. Isaac, any comments on this?
Nope, nope.
And Mac, any comments on this?
No,
He
I
may
think
be.
that whole chip thing it's scary, and like someone mentioned, how can you determine if they're fake or real? It's a tough one for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what. Kudos to whoever figured that out at that table, right? I'm assuming it was the dealer, but it could have been somebody else. So kudos to them, honestly. Barry, anything else you'd like to add?
Nah, just listening. Thank you.
Thank you, bud. And Karen, I know you're listening, so I'm not even going to call on you because you're trying to get to the tournament. ASG, anything else on this topic?
Uh, I mean, it's just interesting what a W, like, yeah, I, I'm trying to think what the word for it is, because it's not exactly entrapment, but WPT put them in a situation which they would never have been in on their own. So it's I'm trying to think
It's
what the
very
term is,
unfortunate.
but it's a interesting spot.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because WPT was really just trying to do a great promotion, get some PR, troll the WSOP, um, and it just turned into this shit show, and it's unfortunate because this will forever be. Remember when the WPT gave those golden tickets out, and somebody didn't win a bracelet because one of those tickets was involved with the final table. I mean, it's just such a bad look. But anyway, Dana, anything to add to this stuff?
Good morning.
Good
I'm just
morning.
really bummed with the whole drama with the hand with Lexi and with the whole scandal with WSOP, WPT thing. It's the kind of stuff that gets to the surface of mainstream media and then it just continues to add to the, you know, preconceived notions people have about
Yeah.
gambling. Anyway, the whole like ASG was trying to come up with a word. It is sabotage. It is corporate, like a corporate Trojan horse where WSOP is forced to be in a position of we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. It seems so.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's all.
I'll go further. There was $1 million that, and I'm sure they have actuaries figuring out what are the chances of somebody actually hitting one of these $1 million prizes. Um, for them to let that go through, uh, one of two things: you should be fired because you're not smart enough that this could be an issue, or you don't, or you let it happen. One or the other. But for whatever reason, to put that $1 million prize on one of these events and not have the foresight to know that you're going to put yourself at risk, or the World Series of Poker in a pickle, is beyond me. I really think the World Poker Tour is not going to get off easy on this thing. Their model is already, you could call it questionable how this model is set up, and I think this is going to be a huge red flag, for them.
Yeah, I think it's dirty. I just think it's downright dirty. I get it, competition, blah blah blah, but
I'm just going to tell you, it backfired bad on them, and they gotta suffer the consequences for their actions, right? And it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the future.
Well, I don't think it backfired on them at all. I,
Well, I don't think they thought that it would end up with nobody getting with the person not getting a bracelet in this big controversy. So I do think
I,
that's a backfire to
I'm
their
going to
promotion.
guess that gaming is going to find a way to charge them with something that compromised the integrity of an event. If you can
Could be.
imagine, so say you were booking side action on a blackjack table or something based on somebody's outcome. I don't know if it's far out from that, and I don't think it's a stretch for the gaming commission to find an angle to say that they were banking bets or something based on that outcome. It's going to be a problem.
Yep. I think there's a lot to. I think there's more to come on this topic for sure. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Because then you also, what if? Okay, here's another scenario. What if one of the final nine decides, wait a minute, did I get cheated on the final table?
Oh, that's
I
going to
mean,
come. Yeah, somebody, and it
and
might even go further. Somebody in that tournament. How many players were in that event?
um,
You can
11,996.
mark my
thank
words
you.
that somebody's already drawing up the paperwork for a class action lawsuit for this
Yeah,
event. That that's our
yeah.
that's already
I
happening.
yeah. I'm telling you, this is the only the beginning of, I think of more on this topic, and it's not going to be pretty. And like Dana alluded to, this is putting a black cloud, making the black cloud over poker and gambling
It,
even bigger.
I think it's
Uh, be- and it's
some kind of new
unfortunate.
law where you cannot award prizes based on the outcome in a casino unless you're an operator. I think something like that's coming down the pipe if it's not already there.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, we don't know all the gaming rules and regulations. Probably, Noah, you know more of them, of course, than me or maybe many in this room. But there's a lot of rules and regs we don't know. We do not know. We don't know how the investigation was handled, who was interviewed, who wasn't, what did they say. Were people overhearing anything prior to the final two? I mean, there's so many what ifs as far as facts are concerned. Um, there's a lot we don't know. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I got a quick one for Noah. Noah, Palm Beach Kennel Club. Do you have WSOP circuit events, WPT
So
events?
we did. Our relationship ended with them when Harrah's when that transaction with Caesars and the Isle at Pompano actually locked us out from hosting anymore. So we don't host them now. No, but we did for 6 or 8 years, and we were first ones to actually do $1 million guarantee for a circuit event. So yeah, but we don't any longer.
So now you only have the
Bummer.
Moneymaker tour?
Yeah, the Moneymaker, and they've been great, and he has the following, the events have been great, and we love our relationship with Chris. Yeah,
And one more, how often do you have those?
we're doing them 3 times a year. The next one will be October.
Thank you.
Sweet. Do we know who took Tony Burns' job with the Moneymaker
They're
tour?
working. They're working. Tony, I'm very good friends with Tony. He and I we talk basically every day.
Love him.
He's a great guy, and yeah,
Yep.
some stuff that he had going on that didn't work for him with all the travel. But I believe they have somebody they're going to put in place and announce soon. That's what I. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. I just have been so busy that I didn't know if I missed the announcement of his replacement. And I consider Tony a friend myself, and happy that he is over at the Aria. I think he's going to love it there and not have all that travel in his
Yeah,
life for
absolutely.
sure.
Tony's the
Um,
man.
Tony,
Tony's
I'll
the
say
man. Go
this:
ahead,
when
Brad.
Chris partnered with
Oh,
Tony, I thought it was the best move anybody could have ever done.
hell yeah.
Tony,
Hell yeah.
Tony, you have Matt and you have Jack and Tony. Tony and he's in touch with the players, and he has an amazing ability to listen to the players, not be over influenced by the players, still do what's good for the properties, and put on a good product. He does it better than anybody. Thinking outside the box, coming up with new ideas. Yeah, Tony, if he stays and keeps plugging along in this industry, he's going to do a great job.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Could not agree more. Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, question. Would this impact their ability to play other WSOP circuit stops that maybe are not
Yeah.
Caesar's properties?
Yeah. Yeah. They're not going to be able to play any WSOP stuff.
Yeah, it'll be all circuit. It'll be anything with that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Label.
Host,
With that label. Anything with that
so
label.
they're going to get banned from the host and the operator, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, we don't have official word to that. We feel pretty confident in the sources, but still, we got to realize we do not have an official word from those involved on either end of the involvement. So, um, just want everybody to
Yeah,
know.
I would also believe, I'm going to probably guess that before this discussion was had between these players, that they knew there was going to be repercussions, but they were still willing to risk it. You would have to know full and well that if there's any form of collusion or chip dumping, that they were subject to some kind of penalty. But I'm sure they discussed that. Okay, as long as we can win that argument, let's go ahead and try this thing. So say they knew it was coming, and they might even been aware of the fact that they might not be able to play these events any longer. That could have happened also. I don't know their financial situations or how much they play. Maybe somebody else could speak on that. But for what's your integrity worth is the question. I you hate to say everybody has a price, but what was their integrity worth? I think that when you go to sleep at night,
Good.
the only thing you have is your integrity.
Yeah, I
Right.
would think
And
they
I
would
also,
think
you
worse.
also,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, you also have to look at the odds. They looked at the odds. Okay, what are the odds of one of these people that have this golden ticket making it and actually winning a tournament? Like, they had to look at those odds ahead of time, and that had to contribute in the decision whether to do that contest
Did
or
they?
not. And if not,
Did
then
they? Were they awarded the million? Was he awarded the million yet or no?
yeah, before the decision came down from the
That's super
WSOP, they
surprising
awarded
because
that million.
as
Like,
soon as this happened, I went right to their rules. I went right to the page and went right to the rules. They have the full disclaimer that essentially you could vacate that thing. I think they had an argument. Um, they should have
well, and
at least waited.
they they said in their rules that money will not be awarded if cheating is involved, and I'm
Right.
paraphrasing.
You would have had to prove
So
that.
why didn't they wait until why didn't they wait until the WSOP made a ruling before handing that million out?
So did the
Their ruling
WSOP
had not
actually?
even been out and they awarded it.
So did the WSOP? I did read the ruling really quick and I jumped on this. Did the ruling actually? They mentioned the decision, but they didn't convict them of the allegations, did they?
Right.
Yeah, but my point is, why is WPT awarding that money when there's still an investigation going on?
I'm gonna guess.
They didn't wait.
I know.
Like, wait until the investigation is done, and then if you award it, okay, you can say whatever, as far as conclusive, not conclusive, whatever. But when you award it before the decision's even made and the investigation is over, it's not even over yet, and you're awarding that money.
Yeah, I'm
Why?
not sure. So I'll say this: I'm not sure. Again, the model and everything. I'm not comfortable in the model and the legalities of the model. Um, I don't know who's the CEO or who's the person in charge of the whole thing, but I know they are aggressive from their trolling on their social media and some other things. They are
Right.
aggressive,
Right.
and I think this is one of those things. And I also think that they shoot from the hip based on what I see, just the way they do business, and eventually it catches up with you. I'll say this. I'll go on record. I'll be surprised if they're in business 1 year from now after this event. I think that somebody's going to come and punch holes in the legalities of their system.
Well, and I think it was Brad that mentioned the other day that WPT Gold is a separate affiliate from the
I
WPT.
from what from,
But so does the WPT want their
right
name associated with this kind of thing? I
for
don't know.
them to put their name. So from what I understand, it's just like a branding exchange where they're like, "Let us use your brand." That is
Right.
bizarre to me. But I'll tell you this: it's probably owned by whether stakeholders or whatever, probably own both, and you keep it at arm's distance as a business entity for when stuff like this happens that both aren't exposed. So I think that I'm guessing
Right.
that there's some kind of shell or system they set up where let's try to do an online
100%.
aspect of WPT and we'll get it going. You'll be your own company. Is it its own company? It is, but in reality, it's the same operation.
But here's another thing to look at this morning. New Jersey just passed some new laws about gaming, and one of those is that sweepstakes betting has been declared illegal. So does that mean, and maybe ASG knows this, does that mean that WPT Gold is going to be
Yes.
kibosh now because they are part of that sweepstakes? Go ahead, ASG.
Yes. Assuming this law gets signed by the governor, and I didn't see an effective date either, it would ban Club WPT Gold, it would ban Global, it would ban Club WPT, it would ban Club GG.
There you go.
Yeah,
So
and then I read,
a lot.
yeah, Gold confirmed once again that they were paying the million. I just pinned that tweet.
Yeah, they paid it like the other day. Wasn't it like, what is today? Tuesday? Wasn't it like Saturday they paid it maybe? I have my days mixed up, so I could be off, but it's been a few days ago that they paid it for sure. And for me, it's like, what's the rush? Why didn't they wait for the investigation to be over with when their own rules say that if cheating is involved, they're not going to be awarding that $1 million? So is it all still part of the just the publicity stunt of it all? We'll be heroes if we give this money away, and I don't know. It's just this. It's a lot. Honestly, it's a
Did they
lot.
come out and say
And
how they felt about the play at the final table? A statement from WPT Gold.
Well,
I
here's
didn't
the
see
tweet.
any.
It
Did you,
says the
ASG?
deal. I said a deal is a deal, Jesse Eggs. You finished with all the chips, and you have a gold. You had a Gold Rush ticket. You're getting the $1 million bonus. Congratulations.
Yeah. So they, as a PR move, they had to pay it. I mean, they gained nothing by not paying it. So they're
Right,
going to
of
pay it.
course.
Did they have to do it so fast? No. Could they have said we felt it was the best to sit? Well, I guess they're saying that a deal's a deal, but they could have given something um, to respect the integrity of the game. They could have done that.
And honestly, I think it would have just optically been better to wait until the investigation was done and the WSOP handed out whatever. And then they say, okay, the investigation's over. And in our eyes, the winner deserves this million. And
Or
here it
say something
is.
of along the lines. Okay, we know what it was. Everybody saw what it was. Say something to the
Right.
fact that we don't condone collusion. We understand that our promotion was so great,
Right.
was so amazing that it might have affected the outcome of the event. However, we still feel that we're going to pay this. But we don't condone collusion. They're basically like giving a big middle finger to everybody, saying like, you know what? Too bad. Like, here we go.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. They should have waited until the investigation was over in my eyes. Anyway, I'll die on that hill. They should have just waited till the investigation was over. Because that also, to me, means, hey, screw you and your investigation. We're going to do whatever we want. And so, do they really care
Right,
about the
and they
integrity of
don't.
the
That's
game?
what I'm saying. That by doing what they did, they don't even care enough. Okay, I get it. You're competing with the World Series poker and all those things. At least show some form of unity in saying that we do agree with the decision. However, we feel it's in it's in the best interest of the players to pay this out. But at least recognize the fact that this didn't go the way it should have went.
100%. And I would hope at some point that they would come out with a statement saying, hey, we thought this was going to be a fun troll of the WSOP. It turned into something we did not want it to turn
I
into. You
I,
know?
I just don't understand these integrity arguments because, like, as people have brought up before, people have chopped, people have bought bracelets before, people have bought EPT titles, people have bought WPT titles. Like, I just don't see how this is like an
All
integrity
right,
or cheating issue.
I'll give you an example. When I play blackjack, and I don't play often, but when I go and I play a little bit, and the dealer hits 22 and tries to pay me, do you let them pay you, or you tell them you're not supposed to be paid?
Of course, you let them pay you.
Okay, I do not, because and maybe I believe in karma or something, and I'm not a big religious guy or any of that stuff. Um, but I feel if I won, I should be paid. If I don't win, I shouldn't be paid. The same as if I walk out the store by not paying for something, I would go back in. So everybody has their own version of what's acceptable and not. But some people, here's the thing: when you're talking about money, and especially money at this level, yes, integrity is thrown out the window for $1 million for a lot of people. It's just gone. So that's what I was trying to say earlier. That I don't know what everybody's price is on the integrity, but I'm not gonna. I don't see myself sacrificing. How about this? I'm more likely to say, if he looks like he's dumping or whatever, and I win this thing, am I still going to get paid? I would ask them before and then see what happens. I mean, it'd be hard to argue with the fact afterwards. But there could have been other things. But you have to remember that somebody who's doing this and they're competing against you in these events, the same thought process that takes to say, hey, we could cheat this event by dumping chips to get that $1 million is the same person who's eventually gets to the point where they say, hey, I'm going to soft play you, or we can angle this guy or whatever. That comes next. That's a thought process.
Well,
That's called slippery
and
slope fallacy.
yeah, but can we really complain that somebody's getting penalized for doing wrong and then complain, hey, shouldn't they be banned because they cheated online? I
Yes, because
mean,
you're talking about
what?
cheating players versus
When,
doing something just to get another $1 million from a company.
So a company, wait, as a
well,
the company is people also.
so
No,
it's
the
okay
company
to
is not
cheat a
people. A
company.
company is company. This isn't the 14th Amendment. A company is not a person.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Why is it okay to cheat a company? That's
Thank
bullshit.
you.
It's not okay to cheat a company. It's not okay to cheat anybody. That's bullshit. Whether you cheat a person or a company, that's bullshit.
It's not cheating.
Go ahead, Dana.
I agree. It's not cheating. I mean, excuse me. It is cheating the corporate entity that has put all of these events in front of us for 40 years plus. And
And that also drives our prices
yeah,
up
it
when
it
companies
chases
get
people
cheated.
away. It brings, that dark cloud over
It
us
cancels
as
the million
those.
dollar. They'll cancel this and it won't happen again. So they cheated you on the other side of the table from having the opportunity next year to do this. It's not going to happen because of this, because you were cheated.
Now you're just making up things.
That's not you. You think it's going to run the same way
I'm
next year, or you?
I'm not one of these
No, you're
anti-corporate
making up that it
people.
would happen next year and now it won't.
Okay, is it less likely to happen
It's a
next
good
year because of this?
possibility it won't. It's a good possibility it won't happen next year
But if it
because
was
of
played on
this.
the up
Good
and up, we don't have
possibility.
a problem and everything's great.
Brad, go ahead, buddy.
So the blackjack scenario is to me a little different scenario because I do think in that spot that you explained, Noah, you're actually cheating the casino. So I think that is a different spot. This is more next door neighbors to two players at a final table, and they make a deal and they have the rights to the remaining prize pool, and these guys are basically deciding to make a deal. So I don't think this. I think it's closer to a that than it is to like cheating a roulette dealer for, or a blackjack dealer for a incorrect payout than what it is in this case.
Okay, dumping chips is cheating. Okay, B, we're going to go on to you next.
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
How you
Just
doing, B?
good, good. Just listening for a minute here, but this is really some bad takes from here. I'm sorry. I mean, this is two guys. Nobody else got hurt. Why WSOP doesn't have to pay out any more money? WPT doesn't give a shit about them cheating for the million. They're happy for the marketing and all this shit. They love what's going on. Yeah, the integrity thing I think is the bullshit thing to say. Yeah, I mean anybody in that spot should and would fucking take that $1 million, and that's it. They didn't cheat nobody.
All right, thank you for those comments.
Well, okay. So based on some feedback we're getting here, everybody needs to be aware. Whatever game they sit in, whether it be a home game, a casino, or whatever, that there's people who are involved in this that are playing poker, and again, money makes people do things that they shouldn't do. But these are the things that start to erode the game as a whole. It starts with one of these, and you have this, and then a guy marking cards and angle shoot and some other things and soft play. So that's what I'm trying to say is that
You can't say that leads to
I'm not
that.
saying that leads to
You
that,
can't say that.
but all of it combined erodes the integrity of the game.
So should Sean D
No, it doesn't.
be
It
banned
does
and
not. It was heads up. Nobody got cheated.
yeah, so should Sean D be banned and called a cheater for chip dumping to Gus Hansen in the one drop satellite?
Yeah, I couldn't speak. I haven't heard about that. I can't speak on it.
Okay, there was a one drop
Yeah,
satellite back when the one drop
Okay.
happened, and it got heads up between him and Gus Hansen. They had a conversation, and the next thing you know, Sean Deeb's betting all but one chip and then folding to a raise,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah.
and then getting it in
Who
the
did that?
next
Who did
hand
that
and
affect
taking them.
outside the two of those gentlemen?
Exactly.
No, I'm
That's the
asking.
point.
Who did it affect?
You're making our
That's the
point.
point we've been trying to make.
Wait, it does
yeah, but
affect
there
it.
is people
There's a
affected by
third
this
party being the
situation.
business. First off, the business paying the million, and then the future of those bonuses being put in place are in jeopardy based on their decision. Those two dumping.
Okay.
No.
Okay, then
Don't
it
you
affected
understand?
Gus Hansen
WPT
making
loves this.
then it affected the player pool of the one drop tournament that Gus Hansen was in and not Sean Deeb.
Mm, I
I think it's
yeah.
apples to oranges. I don't think you can compare
Why
these two
can't two fruit be
situations.
compared?
because because the $1 million was an outside
There's a
entity
game,
bringing that $1 million
right?
to this, and it is not part of the normal prize pool for the WSOP. It is a
They gained
separate
added
issue.
value by they're colluding. They gained added value, which they. How about this? It didn't go to the one guy's not getting the full $1 million. The other guy's getting a piece of that. That tells you the level of collusion that happened. That you can mark my words that they're both getting a piece of that million. Was that ever the intention of this promotion?
Maybe.
Maybe no, and maybe right. Maybe not.
WPT doesn't care.
They're going.
That's why
Uh,
they paid it
I
out so
agree.
fast. Like they
Somebody
don't
write this
care.
down. They are going to care because they're going to become under. They're going to be under the microscope, and this sweepstakes setting is going to be scrutinized to the point where there's going to be something that comes down the pipe for them within the next 6 months. And have me back on the show when that happens, and I'll say I told you so. Yeah,
Please do. And guess what? The gaming commission's
they
not
are
done with
not.
this yet. But they're not done with this, and believe me, I think the gaming commission is. We may not hear about it, but the gaming commission's going to sit down with the WPT Gold over this.
So, do you think they're gonna sit down with Club GG, who is gonna give me an extra million if I win the main event because that they have that as a promotion for them?
Yeah, what-
Has not.
I
It has nothing to do with this, and I have no point of
so
reference
I,
to this.
I
Speak
I
on
I
this
think what
matter.
is going to happen, and this is from an operator side, I think they're going to put something in place that you can't award prizes based on the outcome of an event. It's almost like it's almost like being sports betting on. It's almost like somebody backing a blackjack game. Imagine if I could go in and say, okay, you go play blackjack, and if you win 5,000, I'll double it. That under there's no law, I don't think, in place yet. But this is gonna spark one, because what happens is when you start putting outside monies, just like we have here, into events happening inside facilities that are going to affect the integrity of the game, the operators are going to try to stop that at all costs, so they don't have this exposure any longer. Caesars,
So
or they're going to come. The World Series of Poker, anybody who's licensed is going to come for the non-licensed and say we don't want them involved in any outcome of our games. That's what's going to happen.
So to add some clarity to ASG's point, if you win a satellite on Club GG, and I'm assuming it's similar to GG Poker, if you win a satellite through them to the WSOP main event, you wear their patch. It's part of their rules. You wear their patch. And if you win the tournament, as he mentioned, he will get an additional $1 million added on
Yeah,
top.
we understand that. We
So that
understand.
same
We
concept
understand
still
it.
applies to even themselves that are putting an extra $1 million on the prize pool. So whether it comes
Which
from the
guess what?
WPT
Nothing
or the
to do.
WSOP in this scenario, it's in this case, there's gonna be, if ASG has a gold ticket, he's gonna get an extra million from Club GG or from GG for their promo, and he's gonna get an extra million from WPT.
Right. So
Okay,
everybody
perfect.
here, tell me how I would be wrong in saying that these will not that these kind of awards will not happen moving forward.
I agree.
You're saying the gaming board is going to not allow them? What you're
Either
saying?
that, or or they're not going to do it themselves because of the situation that we had happen here. I believe the gaming is going to come in
I don't think you understand that the WBT loves every second of what's happening right
until
now.
they're shut.
I don't
What
know
I'm
if you.
trying to tell you is
I don't know if that's going over your head
no.
or
Well,
what,
everybody.
but
Well,
Okay,
I'll
don't
say this.
insult.
No. You could say that, but no, I'm going to speak from my head. Anything that when you get into legal, whether they love it or not, there's still the legalities of it. And if anybody feels that any of the games in a facility is going to get compromised by anything, they're going to do whatever they can to protect the integrity of the games on those tables, and they're going to do something. Somebody's going to do something to protect the integrity of
you
those
think.
games.
Yeah, maybe, but right now they're loving it. Right now they didn't do
Of
anything.
course,
There's no
of
rules.
course.
There's nothing against it, so they're loving
No,
every second of this.
Look, nobody
no.
disagrees with you at this
If
point.
I'm sitting in the chair, if I'm
Well,
the
he does.
CEO of that company, I am counting my days down till we're out of business. And again, like I don't see a scenario where
The
it's not.
fuck?
All right, we're going to move along. Go ahead, Fats.
Well, on that note about the adding extra money, what if somebody like Pepsi or Coke said, or Budweiser says, if you purchase 100 cases by a certain date, and then you go to the World Series of Poker and win a bracelet event, we'll give you $1 million. How can you're gonna have the same situation? Are you going to say the WSOP is going to say Budweiser is not allowed to do that, or Coca Cola or Pepsi?
But did you say that they have to win the tournament to get that $1 million,
So yeah,
or
to
just for
win it,
play
right?
it?
To win the tournament, right? If they
Yeah,
purchase
it's
a
the same
hundred
case.
cases and then win a tournament at the World Series of Poker, they get $1 million, and they specify which tournaments are.
Well, I think that what's happened in the last week is going to change rules and regulations. Probably add some, change some, but at the same token, I think there's probably rules and regulations that are going to be applied to what the WPT Gold folks did, because the outcome of their contest has had a huge negative effect on a competitor's um, event.
But how?
So,
Doing,
and
doing what you guys are saying is going to have a huge negative impact on the players. You're screwing over all the players by getting this extra money. And by the way, you're not going to be able to stop it anyways. Like he just said, any company can say, "Hey, I'll give you $1 million if you win a tournament." How can you
So,
stop that? You
so
can't. And why would you
WSOP's
want
well,
to take money out of the players' pockets? Like,
it's
why are we
called
trying to take money
gaming
out of the players'
rules.
pockets?
It's called gaming rules.
it doesn't matter that you can.
So what? I could
Does
say
matter.
I'll give the winner of this tournament $1 million. What? You can't tell me I can't do that. It's my money.
so
Now WSOP could try and sue you, which maybe that might work, but they're not going to sue Coca Cola or Pepsi. They're not going to spend that money to sue them. So there's no way they're
right.
stopping somebody like that. And the Nevada Gaming Commission has no
There
control
is rules.
over Pepsi.
There is rules and regulations about drawings and
Right.
giveaways, and and those rules and regulations are probably going to be changed
Right.
because
There
of
can't be
this.
for them to give away that million. I'm going to guess that there can't be any considerations. But I would also argue that in order to play in that tournament, there was a consideration that you had to pay in order to be eligible to actually win that. Not to mention the fees and everything there. Let's take this a little step further. There's a reason why you can't bet on the World Series of Poker. Otherwise, you can't bet on these players to win events. There's a reason why, because it.
That's not true. They put the odds up. They were putting odds up in the sports book when it was down at the Rio. Like when it came to the final day,
Right.
the final table,
Yeah.
they used to put odds up all the
When's the last
time.
time that had happened?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but they used to do it
Right.
all the time.
They
Yeah,
don't
but they
anymore. Here's
don't
what's
anymore.
happening,
Is the
and it's going to
point,
be a
Pat?
problem in the next year or so with sports betting. Even you see these reports coming out. What happens is when you have money and you have competition, and anybody from the outside could bet on the outcome that's tied to that, you're going to have these issues. So that's why they're not going to the world. Nevada would let you bet on the World Series of Poker if they thought it wasn't going to be a problem. They think it's going to be a problem bringing outside wagers, which, in my opinion, $1 million was some form of outside wager into the games inside the casinos is going to cause a problem.
Wouldn't the fantasy draft effectively be exactly kind of what you're talking about? An outside source that or
Absolutely.
Which one? What fantasy draft? Yeah, 100%.
the
Uh-huh.
All of them.
yeah, all of them. The World Series fantasy draft that
Yeah,
everybody does.
100%. I think that if it's big enough, if the money outweighs, there's obviously there's levels of where it starts getting affected. But when you're talking $1 million for a prize pool of that size, it's going to affect the outcome, and it's going to skew everybody. Yeah, it's.
Well, wait, it could be worse than it could be. A fantasy team may not even need to win a bracelet or finish first to be enough to win the fantasy league. May only have to get to fourth or fifth or in the final tournament they're
Right.
playing. So there could easily be a situation where somebody kind of gives them a walk and leaves
Right.
them
And
in.
he said there could be, and he is said exactly that. Go ahead, Aaron.
I actually think most people in this chat have a similar opinion when it comes to how bad the optics are of the situation, right?
Right.
And
Right.
we're on different sides of what should happen. But I guess what bothers me is I think last year's main event situation, with the laptop on the rail was much
Right.
worse in terms of optics and much worse in terms of players actually being harmed. And there was no consequence. And now these two players, I mean, from what I've heard, are banned, at least at this moment. Again, I haven't confirmed that. I don't know if anyone has more
Right.
information. It just seems
Well,
like,
and we talked about it earlier that we have pretty reliable sources that they've been banned, but
yes.
nothing official from either side. So
So
there
it
we go.
seems like last year, the rule or what WSOP decided was, you know what, we didn't have a firm rule in place. We're going to make a rule now, and next year everyone's aware of it, and we can move forward. But instead, in this situation, they're saying, okay, even though we didn't have a firm rule in place, and even though WPT was even allowed to have this promotion and nobody really cared about it, we're now going to punish these players after the fact. Um, and to me, that just seems unfair. But I agree with everybody. The optics here aren't great. And we do need to protect our game. But it feels like these players were put in an impossible spot. And I don't like the precedent was set the year before that we weren't going to punish people. And now we are.
Right. And totally different scenarios, right?
Definitely.
And I mean, we have witnessed through the years that the act of punishment is not evenly handed out sometimes with the WSOP, right? And a lot of that may also be optics because we don't know all of the information. So we're assuming things as well. But we know we've all heard of people that have been banned for this or banned for that. And, this offense is worse than this one's, but this one's, the lesser offender got a tougher sentence and, so to speak. And, quite honestly, we don't know all the details. We're all surmising and guessing and trying to use our logics, whatever those are, to come to a conclusion for ourselves. But we really don't have the information that those that are in charge do. And in this case, the gaming boards involved, the WSOP and the WPT, they have all the information. Maybe not, like the WPT probably doesn't have as much information as the WSOP and the Gaming Commission, but you guys get the point. So go ahead, Fats.
I gotta get
Yeah,
going. Have a good day, everyone.
I gotta. I
Thanks, B.
I need to do a shout out to a new member in the community here in the room, Mr. Mustache Magoo, and you can see him down there with his little red mustache and beady eyes there. And he is a
Okay. Do you want to have
parody
do you want to
account.
have anything? Do you want to contribute to anything about the Millionaire Maker?
Oh no, but I wanted to shout him out because he's as good right up there with Badwater with the bathwater as an account.
Okay. Shut the sound effects off, people. Thank you. Anything else about the Millie Maker there, Fats?
No, I think we've that's been pretty much talked about. Everybody, I think, is kind of knows where it all is. Until we get more
All right.
information, then we'll hash it out again, probably a few more times.
Sure. Once the lawsuits get filed and penalties get handed down, although the lawsuits we would hear about just because it's public record, but I think there's going to be things happening that we're never going to hear about and whatever. Isaac, you have anything else about this topic,
Nope, not at
bud?
all.
Okay. How about you, Mac?
Nope, nope.
All right. I'm just going around the horn. I want to make sure everybody has their chance to, speak on the topic because it is a hot topic. How about you, Barry? Anything else?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
You're welcome. How about you, Brad?
No, I think a lot of good points been made, and I share some of your guys' opinions and disagree with some of them. And the optics are absolutely horrible. There's nothing that's going to get me to shake off of that. They're absolutely horrible optics. And Dana touched
Yeah.
on something. This headline definitely has a stigma to the poker community as a whole, and that bothers me. Um, that already exists for the game. I think it's kind of just a really unfortunate situation how it's all unfolded. Um, and yeah.
I second that for sure. Karen, I know it's after 10. I hope you're sitting at the felt
I'm
and
not.
what happened?
I'm gonna do some online studies later, and yeah.
Okay.
But no, I enjoyed the discussion. I don't really have anything to add, but it was a nice, lively discussion.
Amen, sister. And I need to chat with you later, by the way. Um, just for the record. Dana, anything else you'd like to add?
Nope, I'm good. Seems like everything resolved. It got a little heated, and we brought it down. So I appreciate that very much.
All righty. Noah,
Yeah,
anything else
I
you'd like
was
to bring into
I
that?
like joining these chats because I like to hear from the player's perspective. Me as an operator, obviously, I have a different take on everything, and I appreciate everybody's patience. My job solely um, is to protect the integrity of the game. So my stances might be on zero tolerance, um, or a little more aggressive than everybody else might think. But over the course of my 30-year career, what I've learned is where people take advantage in spots like these, they also see other opportunities and they take advantage of those. And I'm concerned in the short term for the integrity of the game, with all these little things that pop up. And more specifically, I don't know if the viability of the online game with the same, if you don't have integrity in an online game where people aren't using good decisions, everybody online is going to get cheated as well. So yeah, be patient with my strong stance, but I'm really doing it in the best interest of everybody.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Noah. They call me the sheriff around here because I also take strong stances. And I will say that, when we cheat a business by taking incorrect change, or we cheat a business by taking $1 million prize pool add on, so to speak, or not a prize pool add on, but $1 million bonus, let's call it, it's still cheating. And it's cheating everybody. And when you cheat a business, it drives up prices that we all have to pay. And guess what? We all lose in the long run when those prices are driven up because of stealing, cheating, whatever. So, just some food for thought. Let's keep having robust conversations. That's how problems are solved in the world, um, and I love it. So, anybody else? Who did I miss? I think I missed calling on somebody.
Yeah, well, I
Um,
just wanted to say, yeah.
AST, you go.
One, why two fruits can't be compared. It was a Little Dicky reference. That wasn't trying to get into further whatever. And
I hear you. Thank you.
yeah, and then when it comes to yeah, taking advantage, I think we all have and or maybe I shouldn't say we all and assume, but yeah, have taken advantage of promotions or misprints or whatever. I don't think that should be considered like low ethics or cheating or whatever.
Okay, thank you for that comment. Appreciate that. Um, I think we've got to move on because we still haven't talked about results from yesterday and schedules and stuff. I think we will skip the schedules around town and just focus on the WSOP unless there's something sticking out in somebody's mind that they definitely want to mention as far as any tournaments are concerned today. But I do need to move this conversation along. But if somebody thinks about something on this Millie Maker topic, we can certainly go back. You can bring it back up, no problem. And I say that because there's just so much to it. It's evolving. While we're chatting, maybe a new tweak comes out that we want to discuss about it. I have no problem with all that, you guys, which those that have been around know that. So, anyway, I am going to move on to day 36 and our results from yesterday at the WSOP. If I can find my notes. Oh, yeah, here. Okay, bear with me 1 minute. And I appreciate everybody's input in that topic for sure. The only way to get better is if we have discussions. So whether they're heated or not, it's okay. It's okay. Event number 67 was the $300 Gladiator, and the winner is Ian Plez, I believe is how you say his last name, took home 420,000. Sang Sim took home second place and 300,000. So congratulations to those two winners who finished first and second out of 24,629 entries, which is mind-boggling when you really think about it. Going into today, event number 74, which is the 10K Pot Limit Omaha tournament, there are 7 runners left out of 874. The leader is Sean Raphael, has 13.3 million. Quan Zhao has 11.7 million. So those chip stacks are close. A lot of poker to be had in that pot limit tournament. So good luck. Event number 75 is the 1K mini main. Going into today are 859 left out of 10,794. There is 9.8 million in the prize pool. The chip leader going into today is Bernard Kobus with 7.8 million, and Shakib, and I'm going to spell the last name Mhiri, has 7.5 million. So good luck to them. Going into today in event number 76, which is the $2,500 mixed big bet event, 1 million in the prize pool. We're going into today with 11 left, and Aaron Kubin is in first place with 3 million in chips, and D Nags is in second with 2.5 million in chips. So good luck to them. Moving along to event number 77, which is the 10K 7 card stud tournament, 7 card stud high, low, 8 or better tournament. 1.5 million in the prize pool. There was 161 entries, 79 remain going into today. Walter Chambers is in first place with 372K, and a former Spaces Hangout dude, Sean Deebs, is in second place with 310K. So good luck to them. Some notables still in it to win it. Our girl Esther Taylor, otherwise known as Ite, who some may remember just final tabled that poker player championship the other night. She's in it to win it. She's still in this 10K stud tournament. Kessler's in it. Carol Fuchs is in it, and Norman Chad. So that's what took place yesterday. And just a quick run of the 4 tournaments starting out today that are at the WSOP. 10 a.m. event number 78, the $600 Poker News Deep Stack. 11 a.m. the day 2 of event number 75 is the mini main. At 12 p.m., day 1 of event 79, the 100K high roller. Hopefully, Team Spacers has some folks that finish good in that one. At 1 p.m. is event number 77, 10K, 7 card stud, high, low, 8 or better continues. So that's what took place and is taking place at the WSOP. Anybody want to add anything? Aaron, what are you playing today?
I was actually deciding between 2 different tournaments: the $800 bounty at Venetian or the $600 Poker News Deep Stack, and I think I'm just going to play both.
Oh, I like it. But you don't have to play both if you just win and just, take down one of them.
Oh,
You wouldn't be able to go back and forth, would you?
I hadn't thought of that. I guess I'll just win one then. All right, appreciate that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I plan on obviously winning, but I kind of know how these tournaments go, and it's really hard to win one. I know when you guys see the winner's photo with the stacks of cash on X or whatever, it looks easy, but let me tell you, it is not.
It is definitely not. If it were, there would be more winners, right? Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I think about Miss Okamoto repeating winning the ladies event. Like the odds, Brad was so kind to run the odds for us yesterday. Pardon me, of somebody being able to win that tournament back to back. The odds were, I think, over 1,000,000,000 to 1 or something. I mean, so crazy.
Even if we assume she's the best player in the field, which I'm sure some people would make that argument now, the odds don't get that much better. And I've been thinking about her accomplishment, and I think it's one of the most impressive things that I can recall in modern poker history, really.
Right,
And
right.
I hope that we give the coverage to it that it deserves. I have a little bit of a fear or concern that it's going to be buried because it's the women's event. And even though we're trying to shine more attention on it, as we should, um, the majority of poker players are male, and many of them I don't think care as much about that event as they could or should. But I think if we highlight her accomplishment more, maybe they'll become aware of it, and then maybe people outside the game will be attracted, to the game that we love so much, and that can counterbalance the things that we talked about earlier today in the Millie Maker.
I agree with you, and I'm just going to tell you that I kind of felt the other day that Michael Mizrachi's win of the bracelet the other night, that was the fourth time he won that event, and I really feel like that win was overshadowed by Miss Okamoto's repeat of the ladies champion, and just from the nature of the beast, so to speak. Because that was quite a feat for him to, win it for the fourth time as amazing. So props to him. But I kind of felt like she, kind of stole the shine. But anyway, that was just my thought when I was reading social media the other day. I was like, you know what? I think that for the first time that I can remember, um, a female just kind of outshined another male counterpart's win. And that doesn't, I'm not lessening his win. Trust me, I'm not. I love Michael Mizrachi. But anyway, go ahead, Fats.
Yeah, well, I had said that the other day that I thought that what she did was actually more impressive than Mizrachi, although what Mizrachi did is equally, I mean, that's pretty up there. And I was trying to think of any other ones in my head that I recall that were pretty amazing, at least at the time, um, that were, that really stood out like these do. And the one that came to mind was Jeffrey Lissandro winning all three stud tournaments in the same year, high, low, and Raz, and then I think there's before that, didn't Dan Harrington make the final table back to back years, like the moneymaker year and the year after, or something like that, or I think there was somebody that did it.
I think it was, I think that
Lane,
it
Lane Flack. What
wasn't
about
there
Lane?
like,
Lane?
I think there was like three of them that did it. For some reason, it's coming to my mind. I could be wrong though. We look at so many different stats. I hate to quote anything unless it's right in front of me because it's just so easy to get them confused and call out the wrong name. And, and I certainly don't want to be disrespectful to anybody's accomplishment, right? And so, but you may be right. Harrington may be one
And
of them.
shout out to Alan Kessler, who's still in the stud eight high low 10K.
Shout out to him.
Yeah,
We
there
talked to
was
him about him earlier. Go ahead, ASG.
Harrington definitely did it back to back. There was that guy who finished ninth back to back.
Didn't Moss do it too,
Michael
maybe?
Loren, final
Todd
tables
would
back
tell
to
us,
back.
right? Is he the guy who finished ninth?
What'd you say?
Todd would tell us. Is that his
No,
name?
no, I don't think it was Todd.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
All right. My
Yeah.
bad.
But
Uh,
yeah, I can't remember his name.
Johnson finished 11th one year and then won it. I think either the next year or the year after. That's another one that was very similar. Not quite the same, but
And then obviously Johnny Moss, or not Johnny Chan, excuse me, was
Oh, Johnny Chan. Yes, yes, yes,
Helmuth
yes.
Helmuth won back to back
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
In all those situations, the fields were so much smaller. Even again, and I don't want to diminish anyone's
Oh,
accomplishments,
yeah.
like, but
Yeah.
the Mizrachi's wins are all in smaller fields. The older main event win or final tables, back to back, and Okamoto's they're what 1,200 player fields in both, or at least this one.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
always
it
the
was
question of like,
1300.
the when you get into Helmuth versus some other people, it's always like, what's more impressive, the getting through the gigantic fields or getting through the high roller mixed game fields, always becomes a debate.
It's a fair point.
Hey, Fats, I got to ask you a
Yes.
favor. Don't post that last thing you put up there and that jumbotron. We are not promoting that. I'm sorry, bud. No, thank
You
you.
don't think that was cute?
Appreciate
That's been taken very
I
like that wasn't taken as like mean. That was taken as for the humor of the situation.
I ju- I just don't want it in my space. I'm just sorry, but no offense to you. I do think what you're doing is funny and cute, but
Well,
I
the
just don't
the
want
reason I put
that
it up there
precedent.
was so you could appreciate the parody account that got generated by it.
Well, and I do, and I appreciate you. So don't be offended. I just
No,
don't want
I
it
don't
in
know.
the
I
material.
reserve the right to be offended.
All right,
Hey,
keep
I
it up,
still love
buddy.
you, but I can still reserve the right to be offended.
You go right ahead. Keep on
You might
trucking,
get a
my friend.
thumbs down
Keep
by the
on
mustache for
trucking.
that.
So someone mentioned Alan Kessler was still in the what tournament
He's
was
in
that?
the 10K study.
Do you know when that starts and where that is? Because I happen to have a gift for him.
It starts at
Yes, it
one
is at.
o'clock today, your time,
Yep,
and
Perfect.
yep.
his chip stack is like double everybody at his table to start the day.
Now I'm just going to tell you, Fatch. You yelling at him to get off social media last night to go to bed because you're one of his stakers was the fun. That's the bit you got to be. That's the bit you
Wait,
got to
did
be
you see
working
what
on.
I
Is
did
staying on.
yesterday while he was playing in the tournament? He sent
No,
he
dude, I was
he
busy.
sent out
Sorry.
a tweet. This was like 100 minutes in the into the tournament, and he was already complaining about losing two flushes to full house, ace-high flushes to full houses, and he tweets out something about the structures, how bad the structures are going to be at the big Borgata in 3 weeks.
Oh, Borgata, yeah,
And
yeah.
I WTF'd him. What are you doing? Well, why are you? And you know what his response to me was? He said he already had that tweet pre-prepared, and he was waiting till prime time to send it out so it would get the most exposure. You can't win
Oh
with
God.
him.
I know you can't, but I'm just telling you. You yelling at him to go to bed last night was hilarious, and that's what you need to be doing: is staying on his tail to make sure he's eating right, sleeping right,
Well,
drinking
I don't
right,
know if
all that
you
stuff. Because
heard
that
any of
was
the space
funny.
the other night when he was eating dinner at the restaurant with the whole steak and sending the
No,
steak
but
back.
you,
But when it
yeah,
came time to tip, I made him tip more and told him I'll pay the difference.
good for you. Good for you. He probably was shaking when he had to tip more. He
He
probably
doesn't
made
like
him shake.
taking that out of his pocket, even if it's somebody's giving it to him.
I love it. So funny.
He's actually, you know who he is? He's almost filter wise when it comes to the standpoint of filter. Him and GRP are like twins. The only difference is that like George would eat at a restaurant without a comp as opposed to Alan, which is interesting because Alan does still spend money at fast food. But I thought about it and I said, I gotta rarely will he ever spend more than $15. Like $13 is his like limit.
Right, right. And most of the time it's free. But Isaac, do you want to give any lessons on how to clean a knife at a restaurant?
Oh yeah. You had it to Sherry, and she makes the knife and
I
gives it
gotta
back
take a
to
call.
you.
I'll be back.
Okay, okay. Just for the record, the reason why I brought it up is because it still makes me laugh when I think about it. We were at Giordano's having pizza yesterday, and Isaac, in the most California voice, said, "Oh my God, look at my knife! It's dirty."
In that exact tone.
And and what did I do? I said, "Give me that knife." And what did I
You
do,
you
Isaac?
licked the front and back of the knife, like, and it reminded me of a scene of, like, I don't know, like Predator or something, you know? Like I could see the war paint, you know what I'm saying?
I
Like, yo,
grabbed, I grabbed the knife and licked both sides. I said, "There, now
yeah,
it's clean."
yeah. And then I cut my bread with it.
That's a lie, but go ahead and tell it if you want to. I'm sorry. I'm just not a germaphobe, and we just had to make light of poor Isaac worrying about his knife being
It was
dirty.
pretty dirty though, my bad.
God bless. And look, I'm still alive.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
hey,
Now I have
imagine that.
immunity. And guess what? I have now immunity to who knows what.
We're gonna wake Reaper up right now and see how he's feeling still from yesterday.
Oh hell, there's nothing funner than Reaper on tilt after losing a tournament. Just for the record,
Yo,
people.
there is nothing more fun than Reaper on tilt, period. For real.
So funny. All right, welcome, John Robertson. What you got for us this morning? Any topic you want, buddy?
Well, I joined because you guys were talking about something I had information on, but you've already covered it and moved past, so I'm good.
Oh no, what
No,
do you want to
I was
provide
going to
us?
help you with your stats on the World Series streaks, but you guys already got it, so you're good.
Oh, thank you so much for trying to rescue us with facts. I love that
No,
so
no problem.
much.
You guys were talking about Dan
Appreciate it.
Harrington and Johnny Chan, all those guys. I had the stats pulled up because I love that stuff.
Did
Love
that
it.
Phillips guy final table, or did he just go deep twice? Oh,
Philip, I don't remember Phillips.
Dennis Phillips. Okay.
Oh, the St. Louis trucker guy.
Yeah.
He went final table in 2000. What was that, 7 or 8? And then he cashed the next year, but didn't go super deep. I don't think.
Oh, okay. I thought he went pretty. I guess just yeah.
Okay, this has nothing to do with the WSOP, but I'm going to brag about our late friend John Cernudo because I just think it's a great story of his. For those that don't know it, he was in Atlantic City playing a series, and he final tabled two. He was running between two tournaments because one of the tournaments didn't have a lot of numbers, so he just signed up to like help out with the numbers as he used to tell the story. And so he was in some type of limit tournament and a no limit tournament, and he made the final table of both. Well, before, and so he was running back and forth, to both of those tables trying to play hands. And so finally, when they got to the final table, they moved the two final tables next to each other so that he just had to walk a couple of feet from one table to the other. And guess what? He won both of those tournaments. I've never heard of anybody doing it before that or after that. What an amazing feat. And, great job, John. We miss you, buddy. So, did want to brag about him. Go ahead, Barry Levy.
I just saw a tweet that those two guys from the Millionaire Maker, both their accounts were deleted and their name is deleted off the WSOP app. So
Oh, they are.
there's that.
Oh, wow. Oh, one has to wonder if lawsuits are coming. One has to wonder if lawsuits are coming and lawyers are now involved. Oh, interesting. Okay, so anybody got any comments about that besides me?
I mean, did we establish that they were banned for sure or not?
We have no official word. We just have some pretty like reliable sources, but I've been double downing on the fact that we have nothing official from anybody about that. Wow. Well, yeah. What a mess. What
At
a
least there's gonna
mess.
be a whole lot of headlines for quite some time. So we'll see how it all develops.
Okay, so Barry, did you say that their names were deleted off the WSOP app,
Yeah,
or was it?
if you go to the Millionaire Maker the tournament, the results, the first two spots are blank. And if you click on their ID name, it comes up user not found. So
Oh wow. Okay, so there you have it, people. They're deleted.
more speculation.
Yep, they're deleted, and wow. Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments? John Robertson, what are you up to this summer?
I'm gonna go play a horse tournament next week.
Nice.
That's not the most exciting thing for me. I double checked on Dennis Phillips for you. He got third in 2008 and 45th in 2009.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Appreciate that.
I'm just playing around here. You know, Pacers finals tickets cost so much it took my Vegas flight money, so I'm not going to make it out this year.
I know.
But I'm okay with it. I'll be there next year.
Amen. Amen. We'll look forward to that for sure. And you know, there's always December, but unfortunately, you can't get that time off because you're a school teacher.
I mean, I can take. I
And
got
we
60 something sick days I can use.
all right, there you go. But we won't tell anybody that's a possibility. I love it so much. I just got a little word from Malta. There may be something fun and exciting happening there for me. So fingers crossed for me, people. As soon as that cat's out of the bag, I'll let you know. That was a kind of a fun DM to get this morning. Yes, I am dropping nuggets. So there you go. Um, I'm going to go around the horn. Anybody want to bring up anything? Now's the time before we log off. Okay. So around the horn, Dana, we're going to start with you. Oh, she down at listener? She may have to go. She may have work to do. If you need to come back up and talk about something, Dana, come on up. ASG, you're next, buddy.
Yeah. Good luck to everybody. Yeah, I should be here for the next couple of days until I fly out on Friday.
Awesome. I hate I'm going to miss you, but we will be railing you from afar. ASG has won himself a main event seat. What day and flight are you going to play that main event?
1D.
1D? Okay. We will be railing you from afar. Update us, please.
Awesome.
Update us for sure.
We'll definitely pull up. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. And for those that are curious, I think we're going over to Westgate for that 3 p.m. Lazy Pineapple tournament, was the last I heard. If anybody's,
Yep.
wants to join us. So I think it's a $45 buy in, you guys.
Should be hella fun.
We should be there.
It'll. And let me tell you something. You haven't lived in Vegas until you've gone out with these Green Visor Gang members. Let me tell you. Laughs aplenty for sure. All right, I'm going to continue around the horn so we can wrap it up here. Barry, anything else, buddy?
No, all good. Thanks.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate you. Brad?
No, I say this and I'll stand on this flag. You guys love these spaces to have these discussions. Sherry, you do a great job. These are healthy debates. I'm less interested in everybody agreeing with me than I am more interested in having good faith debates where we can weigh out our opinions right here, back and forth. And you said it earlier. That's how you move forward. And we're not all going to agree on everything, but I felt like this was a pretty healthy discussion, and appreciate you, Sherry. Good luck to everybody out there on the felt today.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate you. And I could not agree more. If we can't talk about tough subjects, I mean, what are we here for? Honestly, I don't want to feel good space only. We want to have that healthy debate and get our opinions out there, because you would be amazed at who listens to what we're doing here. If there's one thing I have found in the last 2 weeks of being in Vegas, is there are people listening to us you would never dream they're in here listening to us. And honestly, I'm so excited about that. That means people are willing to listen to what we have to say. They value us, they value our opinions. So I hope that we will always continue to have those healthy debates. And do they get heated? Yeah, it's okay. It is okay. No problem. As long as we don't personally attack somebody.
I have
Right?
some breaking news, apparently.
Go ahead.
It's in discussion, but apparently the bill that's going through Congress right now is going to limit gambling losses to 90% of gambling winnings for recreational and professional gamblers, substituting the current 100%.
Is that, wait a minute. Okay. I'm sorry. I've only had like 4 hours of sleep. So my mind is, okay. So break it down for me.
So
I
you
did
can't
not catch
off
what that meant.
if this bill goes through as written currently, you will no longer be able to offset all your winnings with losses. You could only offset 90%.
Okay. 90%. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm just tired. I'm like, okay, that didn't make sense, Sherry. Panic. Now I sound like Blue. I've been hanging around Blue too much. I love you, Blue. Thank you for that update at ASG. Did that has it passed? I don't even know what the hell's going
I
on with all
think I
that
saw
shit.
a Senate version pass, but the last time it passed, the parliamentarian said, no, this can't pass this way, and they had to go again. So I don't know.
Okay, let's go back to poker. Nobody wants to talk about that. All right. Who did John Robertson? Anything else you'd like to bring up or add,
No,
my
I'm
friend?
good.
Okay, appreciate you. Um, Mac, how about
I
you, bud?
appreciate the space and everything you do for Poker Sherry. Honored to share the stage with you. Obviously, Asimov's phone is over here. We'll see you at Lazy Pineapple or Crazy Pineapple. But
Yes.
I'm gonna give you Asimov my phone, so he can have his goodbyes. Also, we're in Vegas till July 13th. If anybody wants to hang out, I thought it was pretty cool that we all entered a poker tournament last night and all ran pretty deep. I would love to remake that with anyone that's in space. If you guys are around, let's go raid some tournaments together and let's have some fun. But again, Sherry, appreciate you.
And thank you so much. And I hope we get to make it to the South Point 10 p.m. tonight. We've been trying for 3 days to get there and it just hasn't worked
That
yet.
actually
But
would be that would be the plan right there. So
yeah. So pineapple at or lazy pineapple at 3 at Westgate, 10 p.m.
how
at
long is
South
that
Point.
game, by the way? You took it down last time,
I
so you
think
know how
it
long it takes about, right?
I think it was 2.5
Oh, that's
hours maybe.
great. That is
Yeah, it wasn't
great.
bad.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, because then we could go to dinner and then go play South
Hell
Point
yeah.
or something.
All right.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
Anything else you want to bring up? Okay.
Nah. Just peace to everybody. And tomorrow, hopefully, the unglorious bastards will have taken a lazy pineapple down. So, yep. See y'all tomorrow.
Love it. Thank you. And I appreciate those that are listening down there in the goo. I see Exec Deck and Dane and Mustache Man and Plus Glen 12. And I don't know what the one was. I can't read the other one with the marijuana weed. Is it, hold on, let me see if I pull it up. The real, it's weed. There you go. Sorry, I'm blind up close. Sorry, sorry. Sandy Joy, appreciate you. D Man, of course, Dana, everybody. ASG, John Robertson, Brad, Barry, Green Visor Gang, all those that listening in the future appreciate you as well. If you're on the felt, good luck today. Come see us at Westgate and South Point tonight if you can. Um, Always say hello when you see me or see any of us. Somebody the other day didn't say hello to me, and I was like, oh no, I'm kind of crushed by that. Always say hello. There's never a time we can't say hello. So have a great day, everybody. Thanks again. God bless.